Hello everyone. This is a brief video walkthrough for how to use the compare feature in the paid version of Word. I already have video and instruction for the other methods and other platforms, but for those who have the paid version of Word, I highly recommend using the compare feature. What this does is it will allow you to compare two drafts, draft 1 and draft 2, to show evidence of meaningful revision between drafts. So I'm going to show you the process. I currently have a draft 1 open from a former student, and I'm going to show you the process. The first thing that you would need to do before you can do the compare feature is you have to have two separate drafts to review. Well, we're not starting over and we're not writing a completely new draft unless there's a reason to do so. But let's assume that the draft is pretty much on track and we're just looking at improving what's there. The first thing you need to do is open your file and go over here to File and click Save a Copy. And the first thing you're going to do is come over here and put a 2 at the end of your draft. So your first draft should have a 1 on it ideally. If it doesn't, that's fine. You still would put a 2 here to distinguish it from the other. And then you're going to come over here and click Save. That's the file that you will do all your revisions on. You won't touch the other one. You're going to leave the rough draft as it is so that you can compare what you do now on draft 2, the revisions, the changes that you make, and you can compare them after the fact to show me and yourself the changes that you made between drafts. So you would click Save there. I already have that file saved, so I'm going to back out of that. I just wanted to explain the process. So file save as, put a 2 on your draft, and then that's the one that you make your revisions to. And let's assume at this point that you've made all the revisions that you're going to make before the deadline for draft 2. That doesn't mean that you can't make more revisions between draft 2 and the final, but we're making a big push between draft 1 and draft 2 to do all that we can to improve the execution of the argument. So this is deep revision, content-based revision to the argument, to the presence of counter-argument, concessions, use of evidence, kind of all the heavy lifting sort of things. We're not really too concerned with spelling, grammar, and punctuation at this point, but obviously if you notice something, you would want to fix those. Okay, so now I'm at the position where I'm ready to compare my original draft, which I have open here, to the revised draft. So I'm going to open the rough draft. It doesn't really matter which one you open, whether it's draft 1 or draft 2. And I'm going to click on the Review tab, and then I'm going to come over here to the Compare tab. And notice it comes up with a pop-up. So what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to navigate and put this draft in this column, and then you'll navigate and put the revised draft in the other column. So you can either use the drop-down menu here, but if you have a lot of files, it could be hard to find unless they're right here. In this case, it does happen to be fairly easy to find, but if it's not, you can go over here and navigate by folder. So I'm going to put draft 1 over here on the left, and then I'm going to put draft 2 here on the right, and that's it. You click OK, and notice that it shows the revisions. You'll just close this window over here, close that window over there, and now it is full screen, and you can see that first of all, there's a vertical line over here on the left-hand side, and this is something that tells me that a student either used track changes or compare. If I don't see this line and I see underlining over here, it usually means that a student tried to do it by hand. By underlining and adding the strike throughs, but you can't do that. To show the evidence of revision, you have to use a formal process of either using the compare feature in the paid version of Word or track changes or the equivalents of these things in Google Docs and then saving in the appropriate file formats to turn in to me. So once you're done with this, you're going to come over here to File, Save As, and you're going to name it something else, and you're going to navigate to wherever you want to save it. So let me just save this on the desktop. And what you want to do is you want to make sure that you're naming it something logical. So if I'm pretending that I am my former student Karina, then I would put Karina revised draft doubt, and I might put compared there just so I know that it's the one with the lines, and save that as a Word file. If you can also do me the favor of saving it as a PDF, do save as a copy and do save as a PDF. This is what makes it show up for me in the document viewer. And so on. So that's it. That's the process. And this is what you'll turn into me. So draft 2 is graded only on evidence of revision, not editing. So we're not fiddling with, oh, I changed a word or I fixed a comma, that kind of thing. You can certainly do a little bit of that in the context of this, but notice you're making bigger additions, you're taking things out, you're adding things, and so on. And I should see revision throughout the course of the paper. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Don't revise just to revise. But what you are looking to do is to improve the execution of what's there. And even if your paper is already pretty solid, which is often the case, many people are already on track, there's still generally room for improvement. So this is what we're turning in, and this is the only thing that it's graded on, is the effort and evidence that you're showing me of the revising of the content-based material between drafts 1 and drafts 2. That's it. That's a wrap. Y'all have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon.